So it's been a seller's market for a long time, and it doesn't look like that's going to change anytime soon. As a buyer, this puts you at a bit of a disadvantage when negotiating for your new home. But if you follow these tips, you will be in a much better position than those buyers who show up unprepared. This is the Market Brew. Hi everyone, Mike Tilford here. Navigating a seller's market as a buyer can be difficult, but there are steps you can take to give you a much greater chance to land your dream home. The key is preparation. First things first, get your finances in order before you begin your house hunt. It's vitally important to get a pre-approval from a lender before looking at homes. That's a pre-approval, not a pre-qualification. So you may be thinking, aren't these the same thing? Well, no, not by a long shot. You see, a pre-qualification letter typically isn't worth the paper it's written on. See, a pre-qualification takes a couple of minutes to get online, and it's all based on the information you provide, whether that information is true or not. See, the lender is going to take your word without checking any of the information, so anyone can get a pre-qualification letter for pretty much any amount if they are willing to be a little less than honest. On the other hand, a pre-approval is much more thorough. It requires you to submit all your financial documents to the lender. They will run a credit check and verify all your finances. And this process takes a bit longer, but the pre-approval letter will hold much more weight. In a strong seller's market, a seller typically won't even consider an offer if it isn't accompanied by a pre-approval letter. One of the defining features of a seller's market is low inventory with low days on market. What this means for you as a potential buyer is you can't drag your feet when a new listing hits the market. If a home hits the market on a Monday, it's probably not a good idea to wait until the weekend to go view it. In a hot seller's market, by that time a home will often already be under contract. When a new home hits the market, you should preview the home as soon as possible. In hot markets, buyers are eager to get into a property as quickly as possible to submit an offer as soon as possible. Although it's unlikely that a home will go under contract within the first day, it could, so the sooner you're able to preview a property, the better. In a strong seller's market, the quicker you get into a home, the better your chances of getting that property under contract. Your agent should be explaining the purchase contract to you before writing up an offer. With that said, one aspect of the contract that you should completely understand are the contingencies. In layman's terms, a contingency within the purchase contract is a protection for the buyer and allows the buyer to cancel the contract for various reasons. The major contingencies to be aware of are the appraisal, loan, and inspection contingencies. By default, all of these are 17 days, but the number of days can be increased or decreased within the contract. The purpose of these is to give the buyer an out without forfeiting their deposit. If the appraisal comes back and is below the contract price, the buyer can cancel the contract. If for some reason the loan cannot be funded, the buyer can cancel the contract. If the buyer or an inspector discovers something about the home, the buyer can cancel the contract. The point I'm making is that contingencies are very important. Unfortunately, often in a strong seller's market, a buyer will remove all contingencies within the original contract to secure the purchase. A buyer takes a huge risk when they do this, but unfortunately it often feels like the only way to ensure your offer is accepted. So I personally will never recommend that a buyer gives up all contingencies to purchase a home without fully understanding the underlying risks. If an appraised value comes up short and you have already removed the appraisal contingency, then the buyer will be responsible for the difference in value out of pocket. If you discover that the home requires major foundation repair or something similar, but you already gave up your inspection contingency, then you can't cancel the contract because of this discovery. Just to give a few examples. So if you're comfortable with the risks, then by all means move forward, but I don't know many buyers who are comfortable with such risks. As an alternative, it may be beneficial to give up some contingencies that you are comfortable with, but not all contingencies. This allows for some concession to the seller, but still gives the buyer an out should anything major come up during the transaction. In a situation where a seller is likely to obtain multiple offers, you want your offer to stand out above and beyond the others. That is why it's important to come out strong with your best offer. A seller's market isn't the time to try to get a good deal or negotiate for a discount. Come out from the get-go with the highest offer you're comfortable with. So I can't speak for other areas, but here in the Los Angeles Conejo Valley area, I can almost guarantee that in a multiple offer situation, you will get a counteroffer from the seller agent asking for your best and highest offer. So it may make sense to present an original offer a bit lower than you are comfortable with so you can counter at the highest amount you are comfortable with. If you follow these tips, you will be in a much better position as a buyer within a strong seller's market, giving you a much better chance of landing that dream home. Well, that's it for today. I'll see you next time, and as always, I'm never too busy for your referrals.